We're moving so that we can all kick back and have a great new life in this beautiful new town.
There is no such a thing as Stepford. Stepford is in the mind.
Welcome to Stepford.
Thanks.
There is no Stepford, Connecticut, in real life.
Welcome to Stepford.
We had to recreate the town of Stepford from nothing. There is no town.
Thank you, and action, please.
What we were after was a sense of the modern suburb, of the McMansion suburb, of the tech boom homes that people suddenly could afford.
The look of Stepford is defined by new money. Computer people, electronics people, very new money. There's no real history and texture to this town. It's all spanking new, perfect.
I'm with Stepford Realty. We spoke on the phone. You must be Walter.
You go to Connecticut nowadays and you have 80,000 square foot homes with a mom, a dad, and one child.
I call it cozy.
And there's something both incredibly seductive and obscene about that lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle which makes no apologies for being luxurious. And the metaphor for that world is the houses that people live in, which are much too big for their lives. It's like a library with very few books.
Where would people never notice a town full of robots? Connecticut.
Well, I grew up in this town where we're shooting right now. Greenwich, Connecticut is my hometown. You know, it's kind of surreal for me because Round Hill Road is my childhood road. And to drive down Round Hill Road into this particular world is rather bizarre.
Let's do another one, please. When we have the sun, it's beautiful.
When I was growing up, there were no Stepford Wives in Greenwich. No, it was quite different. Not to say that there are now. I mean,
there is no real town there. They are shooting in places like Greenwich and historical old places in Norwalk and New Canaan.
There's no town center. You know, we discussed, should we have a town center when we scouted locations, and we decided, no, let's make it up with them driving through and we could see shots of houses and stuff like that, but they don't ever shop anywhere except this one supermarket.
The houses in this part of the country, the perfect houses are based on classic models, which go back to colonial times and the federal design, which is all about moderation and balance. And the most successful of these places are based on an idea of good taste, which comes down from classical models. And that's what the movie is organized around.
I always knew this movie needed a very distinctive look, a look that could be immediately identified as pure Stepford. This film has such glorious outsized sets from ballrooms and barns and book clubs that it's not something you could do on the cheap or on the quick.
We built more than we thought. In part, it's because of the cast. We have such amazing cast members. What comes along certainly is hairdressers and wardrobe and all that stuff. And so it's usually better to have that all in one place in a studio than to take the whole horse and pony show to the location. So as a result, we built much more. We had the ballroom and the little garden outside. That was in Queens.
That whole thing, the men's association, the garden that Chris and Nicole walk into, and the ballroom are all connected. They were all part of one huge set. And it was great because then you could connect the two. When Nicole and Bet are sneaking to look into the men's association at night, that's really where they were. They were really on the ballroom set, looking across the garden into the men's association.
The Hunt Room is based on an existing room, you know. It is a room in Nesterwood, which is a mid-19th century, basically what we now call a robber baron's house, although I'm sure the gentleman who built it was not particularly a robber. The basic shape of the room is taken from that room. It's an octagon. And these incredible bookcases with the split curved pediments are line for line. You know, we never could have thought of the wonderful design detail.
It's excessive, you know. Everything's grand, you know. Everything's... I mean, it's a neat room, actually. I might have one in my house. Except I would use different wood and different carpet and drapes, different colors, but I'm not a decorator, but.
Then, because we didn't have enough studio space, in Yonkers, I never lifted a hammer. The crew built the house of Joanna and Walter.
John, just the man of the house. You don't have to be outside for that, but I want to get the energy up between you two and everything.
It was sort of an abandoned building, a huge armory that we converted into a set.
We'll go again.
Going again.
And also the supermarket we built there. We decided to build the supermarket because where are we going to find a place that's that big that we can shoot in? Most of the time with supermarkets you have to shoot at night because they're open during the day and that's the only time you can get in. So we decided to build our own. The set we built wasn't big enough. So there's a green screen work in that too as well. The last shot of the film is the very high angle shot where all the men are shopping. We built, I forgot how many aisles we built. Maybe it was 10 aisles. Something like that. And then after that, the set kind of went off onto the left side.
Keep shopping.
The upper left-hand corner of the screen is not real, it's digital.
Here's what I'm going to do, guys. I have one good print. I'm running very late, but I'm going to give myself 2 more takes, and then it's do or die.
We just have one.
One more take, then. Do or die. That's what I thought. One more take. I meant one more take. Okay?
One of the joys of doing this movie, and actually it was a joy that I found out, it was an opportunity to kind of do a huge old Hollywood film with all the gorgeous costumes.
Basically, we discuss color palettes in advance. I really like to find colors in the collaboration. So with Ann Roth, the wardrobe designer, I kind of tapped into their minds, because the surfaces that I deal with are what these things are seen against.
It's very easy to pay tribute to Ann Roth. Ann is just legendary. Of course, she hates being called that because she's just somebody who all she wants to get the work right. She showed me all the dresses for the Stepford Wives, and I would say sometimes, I don't know, that doesn't feel right, and she'll fight me on it, or she'll say, okay, fine, and she'll disagree with me, but she'll always give me more choices. She's always looking to make that little special part of the scene stand out,
Ann Roth, who designed our costumes, showed me a photograph from Town and Country magazine. And I have since met the woman because we're filming in her house. Basically kind of a blonde look, kind of the effortless, kind of Deneuve-y American version of Deneuve. She was thrilled. She's a lovely lady. But I said, you better wait to see the character.
A world of romance and beauty, of tuxedos and chiffon.
We're doing the 4th of July picnic right now. Background. Rob Hahn, DP, is just walking past.
Hi, kids.
I did it all. I did the landscaping. I did the barn. I built the barn. I dressed all the women. No, I didn't do a damn thing. We have wonderful people, Jack, Govia, Anna. Basically, I make the decisions and they do all the work and I get all the credit.
It is so perfect that it's something that if you could take away and literally put in a display in the Smithsonian as being wholesome and American.
This is a perfect 4th of July. This is more than perfect, more than Norman Rockwell. It's Norman Rockwell then 10 times over to perfection, and that's Stepford. Now I gotta go shoot. Great.
The women are in these perfect kind of gingham gowns and all that and look very pretty. And then you see all these men with, lime-colored shorts and plaid shirts, and everybody had a little teeny cell phone attached to their belt and socks and sandals. They just looked awful. Little men, urchins with their beautiful wives.
It's time for some sizzling Stepford square dancing, so come on in.
The square dance, the square dance was meant to be longer. And I shot it very long, so the actors square danced for hours. I think by the end of that, they didn't want to hear a fiddle and a bass ever again. complicated there because there's a couple things going on. Joanna and then Bobby and her Roger, they just met outside for the first time. So inside, they had to dance in such a way that they start to, almost like a folk dance, where you start to have a relationship in the dance, build a relationship. Because the next time you see them, all of a sudden they're close. So you can't go from meeting each other for the first time and all of a sudden you're close. You had to have something.
That was great.
This is my book club, and there's a book that I think is the most important book that any of us will ever read.
The Heritage Hills Special Edition Golden Deluxe Treasury of Christmas Keepsakes and Collectibles.
And it's all very thrilling.
Your pinecone snowman could be Jewish. Just add one of those little beanies.
I do look at those books on occasion, and I do dream about being able to have the time to create a pinecone centerpiece for my Christmas table, but unfortunately I haven't done that yet.
How long would I last in Stepford? Well, I like a life of the mind. I read a lot, and I like ideas, and I love to watch the clash of politics and all that stuff. So when all that is taken away, a lot of life isn't so interesting. You have to have something to talk about besides pine cones at the end of the day.
The idea was that Mike and Claire were the real thing, and that the other houses were fake, their houses. And so it is an authentic architectural monument, late 19th, early 20th century style, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And what we did was to build a pergola off the house, perpendicular to one of the wings of the house.
It's beautiful, yeah. I mean, it looks like it belongs to the house there, the way it sets on the backyard. It's very lovely, so maybe they left it there, I don't know.
After we had built the pergola, we had to abandon the house because there was a pile driver that we couldn't stop working 3 miles away that was pounding out a granite rock for a hospital project. And
you can hear it for miles around, and it's like every 30 seconds this thing pounds. And so we thought, well, this is a nightmare for sound. It's just going to be insane.
We looked around and we didn't find anything that had the freshness and beauty of that place, so we made arrangements, came back very late in the summer and shot it. I'm glad we did. It is the model from which all else flows, because Claire and Mike are those who are aspired to.
That's all marvelous.
You're stronger, you're faster, you're a better dancer, a better driver. You're a better tennis player. You've always learned at least 6 figures.
Lockwood, of course, was the men's association in the original Stepford Wives.
By coincidence, we used the very same interior mansion that Brian Forbes used in the original. So when you see Nick walking into what was called the rotunda, what you realize is that Catherine Ross walked those same steps. That was pretty amazing that we just happened to have that place. It was perfect.
Oh, boys!
It's a wonderful place, and we were able to refurbish it, repaint it, refresh it according to restoration standards. Sadly enough, these houses, part of our heritage, which we want our children to experience, are falling apart because nobody has the money to maintain them. So we were able to maybe preserve a part of it for a little bit longer, bring it back to its former glory.
Where's Walter?
We had to pre-rig the entire location. We built a grid at the very top of the room, of the rotunda, and there was a ceiling above the ceiling, and we were able to get to that. And so we had basically rigged that place. We rigged that place like it was like a studio.
What it was, I've always seen it as a druid ceremony, or one of those ceremonies where you sacrifice a goat or something. The more pompous it becomes, the more self-important the men seem. So the reason it's all like a druid ceremony is because the men need this to feel important. If they just grabbed or made a robot, they wouldn't feel important. So Chris's character created this. When the beer came up, it's all visual effects.
It's called a bier, I don't know, a B-I-E-R. Obviously that floor at Lockwood Matthews Mansion doesn't open up.
We had to then shoot in the studio a floor that had a hole in it and opened it up, and that body that laid on the beer was a mannequin. And then the visual effects people are the ones who actually had the eyes open.
There's a big high shot that ends the sequence, The way we did that is we shot on the real location with nobody in the middle of the room. Then months later, we were on the soundstage in Astoria. We built a platform that could actually descend. And we put Nicole and Matthew in this platform that would descend. We actually lit them so that when they went down, light came up out of the thing and actually hit Matthew and Nicole because they didn't want to do that digitally. And what they did is they mated the two together.
Chris and
This is a happy snap moment.
Could I just see you on the
mark?
Well, I'll tell you, I really love the ballroom scene because the first movie I ever saw when I was a child was The Merry Widow. And Lana Turner was in it and Fernando Lamas was in it. And I never forgot it because it made such an impression on me. The color and the swirling dresses and the music and the beautiful people and the lighting and the shadows. And it wasn't so far off. I mean, the lighting in that scene is very similar to the lighting in The Merry Widow. I was quite shocked.
The ballroom is the hardest thing I've ever shot. The ballroom is very, very tough. It went way over schedule, and I think it was scheduled not enough time in the first place.
It was scheduled for something like 8 or 10 days, and I think it took us 30. I knew when I saw the schedule, I went, oh, this is going to take a lot longer than that.
We're almost there. We just have to finesse some things here.
There's a lot of character work. It's not just shooting dancing. It's shooting dancing and the characters changing. It was a big deal. In order to make it work, Pat Birch, our choreographer, took the actors aside and taught them.
Let me just see you waltz in place, please. I'll give you 6 or nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In place. Can you keep it neat? 3, 4. In place. 6. Some of you are not on the beat.
We had a big crane shot in the ballroom sequence where there's a dress twirling around and then we go straight up and you see everybody in circles. For me, that was like Gone with the Wind. I mean, those kind of shots were so beautiful in that film.
The ballroom was the climax. It was a really big, old Hollywood kind of ending.
Great. Thank you so much. You guys really were great.
What is happening is a Midsummer Night's Party thrown by the Men's Association and decorated by the Wives. So it's a combination of the two styles that run through the picture. One is a very heavy, Spartan, almost classic men's style based on what a man is supposed to be if he's really cool like Christopher Walken. And the second style is the style of his wife, played by Glenn Close. It's somewhat traditional. It's a little more rich than Martha Stewart, but it's the same idea.
The ballroom scene it's unbelievable. The flower arrangements and everything is just impeccable.
We found a wonderful floral designer, Chris Bassett, who joined us about halfway through the movie and really added this incredible layer of incredibly tasteful and luxuriant floral design. And it kind of transforms this world into a dreamland.
A world of romance and beauty. A perfect world.
Very good, everybody.
Very nice.
Very nice. Good. Thank you. Excellent.
The hardest part of this movie, I guess, just making everything gel. Making sure that the actors are dramatic at the right time and comedic at other times and spooky at other times and emotional at other times. Just making sure all those things meld into a good story and into good relationships. I just try and bring that material to life every way I can. I just kind of shoot the movie and have a lot of fun doing it.